anyone been here before?
Nope.
Yes.
None of you? You haven't been here?
Smaller than him, though.
But other than that, none of you have been here.
Nope.
That's great. Can't wait to see you guys' reaction. Anyway, we'll start our tour right here at this log cabin. A lot of people think this log cabin has something to do with the neon sign above that reads Meramec Caverns, Jesse James Hideout. It actually has nothing to do with either of those. It is just a replica of an old moonshiner shack that we acquired back in the early 50s. Now we just kind of have it sitting here for Ozark atmosphere. If you look into our grand ballroom, this would be the biggest room you guys are in on your tour today, so take it all in. Now we call this our grand ballroom, not because of that disco ball, even though a lot of people think it's because of that. It's actually because we've held many events in here. You see, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, people would drive their vehicles up into the cave, shine their headlights onto the middle of the room, set up a wooden dance floor, because at the time we didn't have... Have any of you been to a cave before?
Like barely, like a little bit, like a couple of feet in. That's about it. Not nowhere.
Just wait. Hey, Nate. Hello, Devin. Do you know who Tony the Tiger is? Huh? Tony the Tiger.
The mascot of the cereal brand?
Oh my gosh. They were questioning me. I have no idea who all those animals were.
You don't know who Tony the Tiger is?
No. I knew there was a tiger on a cereal box. I didn't know his name was Tony. I guess I'm really born this generation, guys. Welcome to our Civil War gunpowder room. Yes, this is another room. The sign is right there to make it official, by the way. Now, we call this our Civil War gunpowder room because back during the Civil War, the Union would come right here into our cave and mine we call saltpeter. They use this mineral in the manufacturing of gunpowder. Now, our cave actually used to be called Saltpeter Cave, but over time we kind of changed the name. Meramec River, a random caverns, Meramec Caverns. So original, right? Now, also during the Civil War, Missouri was kind of a Confederate state, so they did not like this. So they sent in a group known as the Quantrill Raiders to kind of come in, shut down that factory, and shove them out. Amongst that group was two people, Jesse and Frank James. That's how we believe they knew about the cave that they later used 10 years down the road to hide out in, after robbing the Denver Mining Company train. I'll tell you more about that story as we head back there. Y'all are probably wondering what this is right here. Do any of you know what this is? Any guesses?
A ball. Like
A
a
ball?
metronome, almost.
What did you say, sir?
Metronome.
Kind of, and also a ball. I mean, I would probably call it a ball, but this right here is a pendulum. Now, how pendulums work is that they're supposed to measure the 24-hour rotation period of the Earth. 6 hours, it'll swing north to south like it's doing right now, and another 6 hours, it'll swing east to west. It'll repeat this rotation over and over and over again, forever. Well, ours is special. Ours is made by a group of high school students back in the 60s for a science fair project. They're high schoolers. They make a couple mistakes. The first mistake was right up there where the pendulum swings. They made that part out of casting iron. With the humidity of the cave, it rusted and fell during one of our tours. The other mistake was this ball right here. This ball is supposed to be made out of 1,000 pounds of lead. I'm not that strong, guys. As you can see, I was easily able to bring it back because it is actually made out of 98 pounds of stainless steel. So while ours, out of the 16, is the only one underground, it is also the only one that doesn't work. So it is pointless. It just swings when we want it to. In about 4 or so hours, it'll be completely still again. Special, right?
So long. Nemoj dole crveno prosto.
Like I was saying, at the doors, right behind you are those bear dens. That's where bears go to hibernate in the winter. Now do not worry, they won't be joining us today.
Med da se ovdje spavaju zim. Ovi grupe.
Now right over here is what we call Loot Rock. Now we call this area Loot Rock because, like I was saying back at the pendulum, Jesse and Frank could rob that train and come back into our cave to hide out. Since they've been here before, they knew about these rooms, so they go underneath that water, come right in here, and split all their loot on that anvil-shaped rock. Now the sheriff did follow them down here, but he would stop at the mouth of the cave and wait there for 3 days trying to starve them out. On a 3rd day, he would finally come back into our cave and only find their horses back at our division room. Because while the sheriff was at the mouth of the cave, Jesse and Frank would take our underground river to the other entrance. They would follow that river to the right for another 3/4 of a mile and escape through the second entrance long before the sheriff would even notice. Now if you tried going that way today, you would hit the bottom of the women's restroom on the outside of the building. So yes, the only human entrance is to those double doors in our gift shop. Now in 1941, when those 2 tour guides came from underneath that water, they would come right in here and find out they weren't the first people here. Because they would find the 26 artifacts that Jesse and Frank left behind. Right here, a couple of them today. Yes, these are real artifacts. The rest have been shipped over to other museums or lost in floods. Now right there is a strong box and a couple gun barrels. That strong box is one of many that still have to train that day, which would hold the loot they would steal. They'd actually steal around $12,000 to $14,000 worth of loot. If you think that's a lot, converted to today's money, that's around $250,000, $250,000. So they stole quite a bit. Now the reason we knew this is where Jesse and Frank would come to hide out, because stamped right there on that strong box is the Denver Mining Company, the same train they would rob that day. Now once you guys are ready, you can meet me down to where the water is, and we'll continue with our tour.
Really was it?
Any questions? Now, as you make it to where I'm standing, if you can actually look down the river, you can still see Jesse and Frank making their escape.
Oh, really? Wow. Vidio gore malih komadića kako je.
Now on our left-hand side here, y'all can see how those formations are starting to appear. We're exiting our dolomite area and entering our limestone area. In limestone, it is less dense, so these formations are able to appear and form. Now as we continue, they will become even more less dense, so they will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Depending on the water flow, actually depends on how big they get. So as we continue, you'll notice how they get bigger. The best part is yet to come.
Vidiš ovdje par grupa ima. Sad izlete kao bo indijanci radi. Znaš koliko je hladna ova voda?
Znaš koliko je meni? Zima treba sam.
To.
Welcome to Hollywood. Looks just like it. Only joking. We do like to call this area Hollywood because a movie and a show is actually a giant mountain and run into a dead end. Engine Joe, Tom, and Becky would have an altercation up there while the rest of the townspeople were entering the cave. They would see the altercation going on and throw a torch at Tom. Tom would catch it and use it as self-defense. He would throw it at Engine Joe, and then Engine Joe would fall hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and even more hundreds of feet into the darkness. As you can see, that was clearly Hollywood magic. Now, the show that was filmed here was called Lassie. On that one episode of Lassie, two boys would be escaping the Missouri heat, humidity, and mosquitoes, come right into our cave to cool off and explore. Once they started exploring the cave, they ran into a bunch of bats. The bats chased them into a dark area and they got lost. So Lassie, being the brave dog, had to come into our cave, find the boys, and lead them back out to safety. If you look over on my left, or on my right, you can see Lassie in all her glory. Now another cool thing about back there, of course we won't be going back there, but the government actually came in and tried building an atomic bomb shelter back there. It is a perfect place for it. We're about 360 feet underground, so it actually survived the main blast from a nuclear bomb. And we are in the middle of the United States, so we're one of the last places to be attacked during nuclear war. That's all great until they found out that wind comes in and out of this cave. So the radiation would still get down here and cause a very, very, very bad day. So they had to scratch the project and remove it. All that's back there now is, well, nothing. But it is big enough to fit about 2,000 people.
2000 ljudi može stati. Bilo atomsku bombu, skladište da naprave tamo. Ako što je zrak prolazi stalno, ne bi im ništa pomoglo to.
And if you actually look from where I'm standing, you can see some cave crystals. Now, don't expect to be rich. They're actually not that valuable at all. It takes probably about 40 of those, even make $100.
Yeah.
That's me guessing. Don't quote me on that. But sure. Wow. Now I say cave structure because cave structure is actually just a structure found within a cave that's made out of the cave. So a trash can, handrail, or walkway would not be a cave structure. But this is a cave structure and it's human made. A lot of people ask, well, how can you make this out of? Well, it's simply just from the mud and clay that we dug up for our walkways. We were lazy. Didn't want to carry it all the way back to the entrance. So we put it up all into a big pile. That's what this is. We call it Indian Mountain. Now, are you brave? Are you brave? Do you two want to lead us back into our dark area? Usually you don't go that far. What's your guys' names? Tucker? And Hurrah? Well, thank you, Tucker and Hurrah, for being so brave. You guys are now my little tour guides. Do you guys want to continue leading us? If you guys wouldn't mind. Where are you guys from?
Originally Bosnia, but we've been in St. Louis for a while.
St. Louis?
Yeah, St. Louis.
Yeah. How about you guys?
Grew up in Illinois.
Illinois.
so nice. We do.
I have a question for you guys, since you guys are tour guides now. Do you know what the name of the thing hanging from the ceiling are? Do you know?
Ice crystals?
Oh, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say ice crystals, but no. No, not ice crystals. They actually aren't ice at all. Even though it feels cold in here, they aren't ice. They aren't ice. But they're actually a scientific word called stalactite and stalagmite. But you can just say formations as well, because they are a formation. Now, on our right-hand side here, that dark passage area that looks like it continues on for a little bit, it actually does. We call that mud alley. If you would actually follow that back another half mile, you'd make it to a 70-foot tall waterfall. Sadly, we won't be going back there today, but we will be going back into our jungle room. Now, we call this our jungle room for a couple of reasons, which I'll explain when we get in there. But I do have a few reminders. Again, please do not touch any of our formations. Please watch your head and your step. And if everyone is ready, we'll continue. You guys enjoying it so far?
Yep. Kaže, dole ima 70 fita vodopad, ali ne može se tamo ići. Što je vetar. Ne mogu to držati.
Oh yeah, this side ain't lit up. It lights up on the way back. I don't know what that one is, but...
Ne znam what. It's still there.
See, that was just a walkway. Now you're actually in the jungle. Yeah, you can just kind of walk around, take as many photos and videos as you would like. As you guys take those pictures, I'll start explaining this room. This right here is what we call our jungle room. A lot of people think the walkway there, the jungle room, it's like, no, you haven't made it to the room yet. So this is actually our jungle room. Now we call this our jungle room because of the many stalactites and stalagmites we have in this area. A good way to know the difference is that a stalactite hangs tight to the ceiling, and a stalagmite you might trip over. Now when a stalactite and stalagmite form together, which you can see on the right side of the room here, we call them towers, pillars, columns. Scientists usually refer to them as columns. I call them pillars, so I don't get confused when I say pillar. Now how these form is that rainwater will come through the ground, collect that calcite and limestone, and seep through the roof here. As it seeps through the roof, it will start to form these tiny formations called soda straws. Now we call them soda straws because they're hollow on the inside, and you can technically break one off and stuff soda with them.
Što misliš pravac zajedno hodamo?
Ajde.
Now the perfect reflection of the water, which some of you have probably been able to see, and the lights we have set up in this room, we're able to create an illusion. An illusion to change the depth of the water from about 2 feet to 70 to 100 feet deep. If you actually want to stay where you're standing, this is the perfect place to view this illusion. we like to call this illusion mere river.
Wow.
What?
Vidi koliko je duboko kobjak. Samo 4 fite do ovdje duboka, a napravi iluziju da je 100 fita duboka.
So the water just looks super clear. Wow.
It's actually not that deep, that's a reflection. How are you able to create this illusion? It is actually just shining light onto the roof. If you shine lights into the water, it actually breaks up that illusion. That's why we turn off the lights from there.
Skąd
Now this is our tallest room on tour today. It ain't our biggest, our great ballroom is still bigger, but in height-wise, this is our tallest room on tour.
To je najvisoči. Soba. Ono je pravo cool kako se napravi, isto kada je duboko baš.
Oh, you're good. I just got here. I'm walking. So I was like, you know which one the tiger is? I know there was a tiger on a cereal box, so I said his name. I didn't know his name was Tiger. Now this right here is not actually a mountain, even though it has the snow caps and everything. This is a stalagmite. The third largest stalagmite in the world. Onyx Mountain is about 27 feet tall and 500 feet in circumference. It got so tall that it cut up its own water supply. That's why the side gives off that rust color, because it is inactive. Now we'll be heading up into our echo room, where you see a more living side of Onyx Mountain. On that side, plenty of water comes down, creating a white color, which is originally what this used to look like. But like I said, the water being cut off caused it to kind of give off this rust color. But do not worry, you'll be able to see what it actually used to look like up there. There's also 3 different colors, which I'll explain those when we get there. But if everyone is ready, please hang on to the handrail and watch your step.
Vidi ovo. Iz tog snijega nije. Ko je vode kako kaplje voda, valjda pa napravi to bijelo.
And I'm gonna have you guys stay in this little area. This is the perfect place to view this room. So.
Neka nas vodi.
Now welcome to the echo room. We call this the echo room for obvious reasons. As you can see, plenty of water comes down. What did you say?
Because it echoes?
Yeah. Because of the echo. As you can see, plenty of water comes down this side here in that white color. Over here, a lot of people refer to that as Neapolitan ice cream. It actually is just a mineral dump. When the water and calcite came down through the ground, it actually collected more minerals with it. The orange being iron, the white being calcite, and the black being manganese. Now the water will continue to run down our stalagmite here, flow across our walkway, actually causing it to form on the walkway. And it will flow into what we like to call Crystal Lake.
That's cool. It also has that
It doesn't work.
We have Christmas, Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, whatever day you want to call it, and personally my favorite, dark sky.
Да. Прикричу.
We were actually going a little too fast anyway because we caught up with the last group. The last group was already supposed to be down the ramp. We were caught up with them. So.
Ага.
Yep, that's their very formation.
What do you call it?
Remnant.
There's only two in the world, huh?
Yep. Like I said, the second half is way better. Please watch your step so you can go ahead and go find a seat. Please watch your step and you can go ahead and go find a seat.
Да. Ага.
Please watch your step and you can go ahead and go find a seat.
Чё ж ты там? Malo sjednemo, ajde odmorimo. Evo nas.
Please watch your step and it's very, very special.
Šetamo pećinama nekim.
I do have a few rules for this room. My first rule is please stay seated until the lighting returns at the end of our show. Yes, we have a show. My second rule is if you plan on taking any photos or videos, please make sure that your flash is off. Again, you can take as many photos and videos, but just make sure that your flash is off. And have fun and enjoy. Welcome to our theater room. Right here is our theater curtain standing at 70 feet tall. It actually continues up for another 2 stories and down for another story. It is 60 feet wide and 35 feet at its thickest point. It is roughly around 80 million years old.
80 miliona godina ostaje.
That's our backstage area. Right there's our curtain parting. That's where artists come out to perform. Right above you will be your extra seating for the busier summer days. And what would a theater be, any theater at all, with not one, not two, but 3 stalactite chandeliers? Now back in 1946, the governor of Missouri came to our cave and took a tour. He liked it so much that he came back and gave us 2 gifts. Our first gift was the American flag painted on a glass slide. With a light shine through, it would project into a curtain. The second gift was Kate Smith, the famous opera singer. She would stand right there in our curtain party and sing God Bless America to every tour for a whole entire day. Now the light show you're about to see, we first started back in 1946 as well to commemorate the ending of World War II. We continue to show this light show to every guest every day to thank our veterans and thank the people who are planning on serving in the military or who are currently serving. Again, we appreciate you, we thank you for your service, and we hope you all enjoy our light show. The first light show underground or in a cave, and the best one. On behalf of Meramec Caverns and I, I'd like to thank you all so much for coming on our tour. We are a family and privately owned business, so we really appreciate it. Now, me personally, I want to thank you all for coming on my tour. I'm the best guide here, so you're welcome to put you the best one. Now, it's been a great tour with you all. Enjoyed having all of you on our tour. Pretty much at the end of it, though, I do only have a few more formations of things I want to show you on our way out. One of those being right over there. Wait for it. Wait. There it is. That is our cave's tallest stalactite at 17 feet tall. The owner called it the mother-in-law's tongue. Now, we will be exiting right underneath it, but do not worry, it won't fall yet. Also, if you look to your right as we exit, you'll see backstage. If everyone is ready, please gather all your personal belongings. You proceed to tell them that the only person to take a bath in here was the devil himself. You can see why it's very disgusting and disturbing. I don't think any of us want to take a bath in there. Now we're going to have everyone please watch your step as we go down this steep ramp. It is very steep and slow.
Видео какое зачем?
I've gotten up to, I think the highest number I've ever had of people was 68 people.
I wouldn't want to go on a tour that day.
Oh yeah, I was yelling the whole time. Yeah. Like, on the tour, like I've never heard anyone say anything about it.
Who knows what's happened over the millions of years here?
Exactly, yeah. We can only say what we've heard. If you look right above my hand, you can see that black line. That represents the water level from back in 2017. That year we had our biggest flood we ever experienced since we first opened in 1933. That's how high the water got. If you compare that to the lower levels the first half we went through, it was all completely underwater. Also, our gift shop was also completely submerged. That's why it looks new, because it is new. We had to redo everything.
Gift shop, sve pod vodom bilo
Now,
to.
once you get to your car this evening, if you actually look at the
Poplava, morao se nanovo renovirati.
you can see where the water level was, because you can almost drive a boat onto the top of our building. It was very bad. And if you are wondering, it took about a week for the water to get back down to normal, and it took about 3 months for us before we could even open back up.
Godina dana trebala voda da se spusti 3 mjeseca da renoviraju sve. Evo Raja, kao što vidite, to je bila jedan tour kroz pećinu ovdje u Missouriju. Star je preko 400 miliona godina. Tako da, eto, nadam se da će vam se video svidjeti. Lajkujte, šerujte, pretplatite se džabe. Pa se mi vidimo u sljedećem videu.